Hi guys. So today is one of those days that I will be doing top five. And I'm talking about the top five most iconic historical figures of our time. The goats. Yes, the goats. And without further ado, let's get to number five on the list, which is Napoleon Bonaparte. Let's hear about him and why I rank him number five. Who was Napoleon Bonaparte? Well, he was one of the most influential person in the history of mankind. He was named the greatest military genius that has ever lived. He led his troops in more than 80 battles and won almost all of them, like 90% of them. No other conquerors come even close to that number, not even Alexander the Great, whom Napoleon wanted to. During the Napoleonic Wars, France conquered Egypt, Belgium, Holland, much of Italy, Austria, much of Germany, Poland, and Spain. He crowned and named himself Emperor of France. He overthrew the government of France. Not to mention his great tragic love story with Josephine de Beauharnois. The only reason he's not high on the list is
in 1813, Prussia and Austria joined Russian forces in the War of the Sixth Coalition and defeated Napoleon at the Battle of Leipzig before capturing Paris, forcing Napoleon to abdicate and exiling him to the island of Elba off the coast of Italy. After
he was defeated and fled to exile. Yeah, and this is why Napoleon Bonaparte is ranked number five on the most iconic historical figures of all time. Right. So do you agree with me? Would you rank him number five? How higher would you rank him? Is it the right rank? Let me know. Now, let's get to number four on the list, which is Julius Caesar the Great. Let's hear why I rank him at number four.
Gaius Julius Caesar. After traveling some distance, he found a statue already worn out by time. When Julius approached, he noticed that it was a statue of Alexander the Great. As he approached the feet of the statue, Caesar felt an enormous torment and began crying. He was already 33 years old. He felt he had not conquered anything great in his life yet. On the contrary, Alexander the Great at that age had already conquered an empire. At that moment, Caesar swore he would not rest until he was equal to Alexander in his conquests.
Who was Gaius Julius Caesar? He was a man of towering intellect, the founder of the legion, conqueror of 86 tribes. He was a reformist, ruthless, a general, a conqueror, a governor, almost an emperor, of course a dictator. He changed Rome's trajectory from a republic to a dictatorship, changed Europe's map after he easily won the Battle of Zela, modern Turkey. He coined one of the greatest quotes we know now, Veni Vidi Vici. I came, I saw, I conquered. Hey, even Jesus referred to Caesar, gave to Caesar what are Caesar's and God what are God's. He made Rome one of the greatest empires of all time. Everything about the guy was grandiose, even his death. Who gets murdered by their senators right in the middle of the chamber's floor? Huh? Who? Well, Julius Caesar did.
Senators walked to him, pretending to be interested in reading what was written. Then, the nearest senator drew a dagger that was hidden in his own cloak and grabbed Caesar's robe. Julius Caesar tried to dodge his attacker, but the senator started yelling for help, demanding the other members of the conspiracy to advance. Caesar was attacked by 60 senators, being mortally wounded by about 23 dagger wounds. One of the last to do it was his own nephew Marcus Brutus, who dealt the fatal blow.
And that, my friends, this is why I ranked Julius Caesar at number 4 on the list of the most iconic historical figures of all time. One of the goats. Will you agree with me? Would you have ranked him at number 4, or would you rank him higher or lower? Let me know. Now, why don't we get to number 3 on the list, which is none other than Alexander the Great. What made Alexander the Great great? Well, let's go over his rap sheet. He was the king of Macedon. He was thought by one of the greatest thinkers of all time, Aristotle. He had a 10 years winning spree of conquest under his belt. His campaign of conquests from Greece and across Anatolia, Syria, Egypt, Mesopotamia, Persia, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India, he was never defeated, not even once. Built one of the greatest empires of all time. Every conqueror after him wanted to be him. From Julius Caesar, who sobbed at his statue, to Napoleon Bonaparte, who venerated him, to Hannibal, who wanted to be him. The only thing that was greater and that defeated Alexander the Great was alcohol. And this is why Alexander the Great is ranked at number 3 of the most iconic historical figures of our time. One of the greats. And now, my friends, let's get to number 2. I know you're going to say, no, he's not number 2. He's not an historical figure. Probably not, but nonetheless, he deserves to be at number 2 on the list. Who was Michael Jackson? Well, he was the king of pop. He is considered the greatest humanitarian of all time. He is the greatest entertainer of all time. He had the number 1 album of all time as a solo artist. He was the most beloved. He is the most beloved artist of all time. He is the most known artist of all time. And just like the number 1 on the list, he is the second human being whose face is engraved on almost every wall of the entire planet. Everybody knows Michael Jackson, from the Aborigines of Australia to the ones in Ecuador. None of the other great I mentioned before is more known than Michael Jackson. The guy holds Guinness record as the artist with the largest poster in the world. His album Thriller is not only inducted in Guinness World Record, but also in Library of Congress. This guy was received as loyalty in Russia and Asia and in the Middle East. He has the best fandom of all artists. I can go on and on, but no so little time. He conquered planet Earth with love. He didn't have to kill no one. Now, let's watch his greatness, his beautifulness.
Fandom. Several people could be seen fainting and being carried off by security while
I enjoy doing. I love it. It's hard to put it in words.
That, my friends, this is why MJ is ranked at number 2 on the list of the most iconic historical figures of all time. One of the goats. Now, let's see who MJ is second to. You already guessed it. No suspense. Jesus of Nazareth. Let's see why he is ranked at numero 1 on the list of the most iconic historical figures of all time. Who was Jesus of Nazareth? Jesus of Nazareth, according to Christianity, is the Messiah and Son of God who died for humanity's sins and ascended to heaven. The great Jesus Christ, he was undoubtedly the greatest human being that has ever lived. Not because I believe he was holy, but because of his accomplishments. He had a bunch of people believing he was holy. He had people believe he walked on water.
Be of good cheer. It is I. Be not afraid.
He had them believe. He had the blind see.
Go and wash your face in the pool of Siloam.
This name means sent.
The handicapped walk.
Who had seen him begging before this asked, "Isn't this the man who used to sit and beg?"
He's the one. No, he isn't. He just looks like him. I am the man. How is it that you can now see? The man called Jesus made some mud, rubbed it on my eyes, and told me to go to Siloam and wash my face. So I went. And as soon as I washed, I could see. Where is he? I don't know.
He called
And who do you say that I
himself the Son of God, the Messiah.
I see you are the Messiah. the Son of the living God.
Over 2,000 years after his death, people still venerate him, still believe he is the Son of God, even though there is no historical proof whatsoever that he existed. That doesn't deter his followers. Alexander the Great, Julius Caesar, and Napoleon all wanted to be God, but only one of them is considered God today. And that is none other than Jesus of Nazareth. And this is why he is the number one most iconic historical figure of all time. The goat of all goats. Who else could have put this off? So guys, what do you think? Do you agree that Jesus should be number one on the list? If you would put him at number 5, it's okay. If you would put him at number 2, it's okay, number 2. But for me, he's number one on the list. Okay, so do you agree with all of my choices, or you would rank them differently, or you wouldn't put anyone on the list at all? Let me know. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, please, and like this video, comment. Until next time, peace.